My name is Priscilla Gilman. I am a former professor of English literature at Yale and Vassar College. My second book, The Critic's Daughter, is about my experience as the daughter of theater and literary critic Richard Gilman, who was the drama critic for Newsweek and The Nation, the president of PEN America, and taught at the Yale School of Drama. My book begins, I lost my father for the first time when I was 10 years old. And I go on to talk about a number of losses that I experienced of my father. My parents split up when I was 10. I lost my father in my daily life. I lost him as a stable, reliable parent figure as he struggled with depression. He had financial issues. And then when I was in my early 20s, he had a heart attack, and 5 years later was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. The successive series of losses of my father was wrenching and devastating for me. And the way that I got through it all along the way, and especially after his death in 2006, 9 years after he was diagnosed and given a 7-month prognosis, he ended up living actually much longer than we thought. Literature helped me get through it. My sister helped me get through it. My best friend, my compatriot, 14 months younger, the only other person in the world who knew what I knew about my father's struggles and how difficult things had been for him. My book is filled with literary characters, quotations from literature, characters from movies and television and plays, as well as books that reminded me of my father. And I found my father in these characters, even as he was slipping away from me in real life. I also got through it, and I finally reckoned with my grief by writing about him, by attempting to find him in the process of writing. I learned that people are complicated, that parents and idealized figures, everybody has someone in their life that they idealize, that they put up on a pedestal, that they looked up to almost as a god and adored, whether it's a parent, a grandparent, a teacher, a mentor, whoever it might be. And then we discover things about them where we see them struggling, we see them frail, we see them ill, we see them in crisis. And the most important thing that I take away from this, and that I hope I can help others take away, is how to recover that sense of the person that you once had, but with a deeper sense of love, a deeper appreciation for their humanity, with all their flaws, with all their complexity, with all their struggles, learning to love in a deeper way. First, try to remember and hold on to the person when they were their truest self, their most essential self, their best self. Don't let the images of them struggling or angry or declining dominate your thinking about that person, because that isn't really truly their most essential self. Second, figure out ways to incorporate that person still into your life, even if they're not physically there. For me, it's right behind me. I have a little Super Grover figure. My father did a Super Grover imitation throughout his life, actually, not even when I was just a little girl. And I have this little talismanic Super Grover that I look at, and it reminds me of my father, and it brings me to my sense of my father's most playful and imaginative and fun-loving side. And I think there are a lot of ways to incorporate a lost parent into your life, playing their song, making a dish that they liked, that you shared with them, sharing stories and anecdotes with your children and other people in your life. And then the third most important thing is not to run from the sadness, not to suppress the grief, not to try to push through. I tried to push through for many, many years. I did not allow myself to feel the full extent of the sadness in losing my father. And it got to a point where I was so overwhelmed with sadness at a production of The King and I started sobbing. And I realized I have to finally slow down enough and take the time and make the space in my life to feel the grief fully, to experience it, to confront it, not to deny or push it down anymore. Because I always say, if you postpone grief, it's still there, and it's going to get you possibly even worse in the end if you don't confront it. So whether that's with a therapist, writing about it, talking with other loved ones who knew that person, meditating, I'm a meditation teacher, whatever it's going to be, to give yourself that care, to give yourself that support, as you go through those painful and difficult feelings. I don't experience grief with the same fangs that I used to. It doesn't level me. And it's not about, oh, so many years have passed since my father was gone. It's really about having fully felt those emotions, confronted them, processed them, made sense of them.